Hey everybody, welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm a man who makes many mistakes.
I'm trying to think which particular character you're referring to.
I'm not referring to any character in the show.
Oh, you're not?
No. I'm referring to me, myself.
Oh, that's very astute of you.
It is, isn't it?
It is. Such wise.
This is where you ask what mistakes I've been making.
I don't know if I want to know.
See, this is a segue.
Oh, okay, I'll ask. What mistakes have you made recently?
I got back into magic. Told you, that was a big mistake. Big mistakey, as Admiral Akbar would say.
Okay. I guess I'll bite. Why?
Why what? Why'd I get back into magic?
Yeah.
Because the new set's good.
Oh.
Past couple sets have been like super gimmicky, and this one's just like, here, why don't you play magic instead of weird gimmicky magic?
I thought you were going to say something like, well, I just had this box of cash that I didn't really know what to do with.
No. You see, I'm just playing online because I don't want to go anywhere or meet anybody. And magic people are miserable. So I'm just playing on Modo.
Fair enough.
Because they fixed the way it works. Used to, if I want to do a draft on Magic Online or a sealed tournament, I do it, and then you have to set aside 4 hours of time to do it. Because you have to do it in real time, waiting for all the other players to finish their matches.
Well, that's miserable.
Well, yeah, they changed it. Honestly, they changed it about a year and a half ago. But they changed it so it now sets up in leagues. So you have a draft pod where you'll draft, but then you can play anybody else with a draft deck.
Oh, okay.
So that means I can do a whole draft in like an hour and a half, split up over as much time in the real world as I want.
Well, that's nice.
It's not technically as fair because it means you're fighting people that are outside your draft pod, which you really shouldn't do. But, you know, sacrifices must be made for time.
And the greater good.
And it really helps.
I'm sure it does. I can't imagine setting 4 hours aside.
Oh yeah, no, it was miserable. I used to do it back when we first moved over here, and it was just like a pain because it's like, oh, I want to draft Magic. It's like, oh, well, there's my entire night.
Yep.
If you finished your match, you had to wait for all the other matches to be done before it could pair anybody.
Ugh.
But you don't know how long those matches are going to be, so you could wander away from computer if you wanted. But then if the matches started up while you were gone, you'd be losing time.
Wow.
Oh, it was misery.
Wow.
But now they just set it up into leagues, and it's way easier. It's like they figured out that, hey, we're being outcompeted in the market space by, Hearthstone, so maybe we should fix it.
Yeah, good old Hearthstone.
Because Moto sucks.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a bad platform, but they're working on it. They're coming out with Magic Arena, which is supposed to be fixing a lot of that garbage.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It will be.
What else have you been up to?
Yeah, Magic.
Just Magic? Mostly Magic?
More or less.
What about dancing Magic, etc.?
Dance Magic Dance? No.
I'm sorry.
Let's see. I haven't seen Avengers yet. Have you?
I have not. I'm honestly not probably going to go see it because I'm not big on that kind of stuff. I want to go see it
because I feel like I should go see it, but Annie's like, I don't want to feel obligated to go see a movie. He's like, yeah, I don't want to either, but we really should go see it.
Now that you mentioned that, I think that is not a large percentage, but a noticeable percentage of why I don't watch Marvel movies. Because suddenly it's, everyone has to go see this right now.
Yeah.
Do I,
Well,
though?
I mean, that's spoiler culture just in general. Yeah. And the other irritating thing is man, the MCU has gotten to almost be as bad as the actual comics, where it's like you have so much buy-in now. It's like you can't like get into the Marvel movies. You have to watch 10 years worth of movies to catch up so you can watch this one.
Well, I wasn't honestly all that interested when I found out they changed Thanos' reason for doing what he's doing.
Yeah, Death isn't even in the movie, so that's kind of lame.
I was explaining to someone today at lunch. In the comics, he wants to impress Mistress Death, which makes all of his actions, I won't say evil, like normal evil. They're just extremely amoral.
Yeah, they're really weird.
Yeah, they're byproducts of this other quest he's on. That's But in the movie, suddenly he's all ecology. Let's save the planets.
Oh, really? Is that his thing? That's really stupid.
Yeah, it's like, there's too much suffering and poverty in the universe, so the solution is to kill half of everyone.
Oh, well, all right.
It's like, well, now you've given him sort of a moral stand.
Yeah.
Boo. I'll watch it when it comes out on Netflix.
Sometimes you just want to impress a girl, man.
I know. It all boils down to Death as a girl was nice to young Thanos once.
Yeah, no, I know.
And the
exactly
moral
right. It's,
is,
like,
don't
super
be
weird.
nice to anyone ever.
Yeah, don't be nice to psychopaths. Good rule to live by.
They might kill everyone. I did
Yeah,
watch that Golden Kamuey show.
Golden Kamuey show.
That's the
I do not
one
know what you're talking
about the Ainu. Little Ainu girl.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's an interesting show.
Is he good?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
No, all right.
But
Yeah.
I'm only like 4 episodes in.
Sure.
The stories from the preview show we did, there's Ainu gold. It was stolen. People are trying to find it. But
Was it stolen by Nazis?
Japanese Nazis, yes, from World War One.
Oh, all right. Well, that's acceptable.
It's clearly following the manga very strictly because it's got this weird. There's like 2 different shows. There's one show where the guy's going native and learning about the Ainu, everything they eat, how to cook all the things they eat. Like, it's very food focused.
Yeah.
Here's the Ainu way of doing all these things. And then you've got this other story about, and people are after this gold also. It's an odd show, but it's good because it's got Ainu in it.
I have also been watching the new season of My Hero Academia.
And how's it going?
It's been all right. They're finally getting to some fights. Unfortunately, they've had some focused episodes on lame characters, and the very first episode of the season was a clip show.
Hooray!
So that kind of put a damper on things. But they're finally getting into a fight, so that'll be nice.
Well, that's good.
I mean, I like slice of life stuff in the show, but it depends on who they focus on, and sometimes they decide to focus on no one interesting.
Well, like you've said, it should end at the end of this season because the
It really
said
should.
this will end at the where that cutoff is. Like, it's gonna be over.
Good. That would be nice because it needs to.
But the Bleach guy said that too, and so did the Naruto guy, and we all know how that ended up.
Yeah. Because it really, really needs to be.
Yeah, the problem is they keep going, hey, but this prints money. So why don't we just keep going? I've also been watching Darling in the FRANXX. I wasn't going to, because I watched 1 episode and was like, eh.
Yeah, it's bad though.
But then I saw online that there's like this big blow up of, you've got the main girl and then you've got childhood friend girl, and Reddit has been all one camp or the other, right? But then apparently at episode 14, childhood friend girl does something so terrible that everyone rebelled against her. I was like, well, that's odd. I wonder what in the world could she have done to cause this? So like, well, now I got to watch all of it. So I did. I don't honestly know why they were all so upset, but did turn out that it was a pretty decent show once you got past the first couple episodes.
Well, that's always nice.
So it's kind of like Kill la Kill in that sense. Get past the first couple, and then it starts getting good.
Well, Kill la Kill, like the first couple episodes aren't like bad. They're just like not what you would want from Trigger.
This is in the same vein, because a lot of the they're shoehorning in a lot of fan service, as you would expect.
I hate that.
But
I hate when it's shoehorned in, right?
It's like, you guys are just trying too hard now. But eventually I won't say they stop, but it stops being the focus.
Oh, that's good.
So, might be good. The backstory is really good. I like the backstory. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. And then, one other thing I did, and you can hate me all you want for this.
Sure.
I started watching Niseimonogatari.
Okay. I mean, you can watch it if you want.
Oh, I only watched the first half.
Yeah.
Man, they ramped up that fan service.
Yeah, they really do. That's why I was like, yeah, no, I'm out.
It's like in Bakemonogatari, it's like, well, we'll dial this up to 8. And then they're like, well, we got more money for a new season. Let's dial it up to 12.
Yeah. No, I know. It's like crazy. Because like Bakemonogatari, like, I mean, it's like, it's got fan service and stuff in it, but like it usually serves a point. Because it's like, especially in the books where it's like from this horny teen's point of view, and like the problems are like teenage and adolescent related, and it's just like really interesting, and it's doing things with its fan service and its etchiness. But then I started watching the second season. I was like, now you're just doing it because you, the animator's horny. It's like, it's a little different.
Ironically, there is a scene in one of the episodes where Shinobu pops up again.
Yeah.
And I think you were referring to this the other day when I was talking to you about it. She's essentially nude the entire scene. So you've got this nude lolly.
Yeah.
And of all the fan service scenes in the first half of Niseimonogatari, that one was the least blatantly fan servicey because it served a point.
Yeah.
But everything else was just absolutely gratuitous, and I thought that was
kinda,
so weird.
It's kind of a big bummer.
You have a nude lolly here, you'd think this one would be more gratuitous, but no, everything else is.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty big bummer because like in the again, the first season is just like so good because it blends it so well, like fan service and everything all drives to a point, and then it's just like, yeah, no, how about just boobs and panties from here on out? It's
forever.
Like, it's not really what I want. Can we split the difference like we were doing? It's like, no, okay.
And I feel like I want to continue just out of morbid curiosity, but I know the next episode is the toothbrush scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you should just skip to, what is it that's the prequel series? It's not Nisei, it's
there's a bunch of them, and they're all intertwined, so...
Yeah, because it's like every other one is pretty okay, but the second one's not super great. But there's one after that I think is pretty okay from what I remember hearing, but I've not watched any of them other than the first one because I don't want to deal with all that.
I wonder what the books are like if they're that bad.
I mean, they can't be, right? They like almost literally can't be because a lot of the fan service is just simply visual, and like the first ones aren't written when it has like his internal monologue and stuff. Like it's not gratuitous. It's not like purple prose or anything.
Well, I only read the one story, so I don't know too much.
Yeah, it's not like purple. It's not purple prosy or anything. So I mean, you're fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
I don't know how to segue that into psychics.
I guess we'll find out.
Psychically. Yeah.
I guess if I had to rank Bakemonogatari
on a scale of 1 to 100,
of 1 to 100, I would give it a Mob Psycho.
There you go. Good enough.
For everyone is not special. Maybe you can't be what you want to be. So let no go the air. You took on you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
This week, we have decided to watch Mob Psycho 100.
Because really, why not?
Because it's amazing.
Did you watch the that little OVA?
I did watch that OVA.
You know, it's not bad.
It's not bad, even though it's an hour-long clip show.
It is an hour-long clip show, but here's the thing. Here's what. Well,
we get to that later.
Talk to it at the end.
Yeah,
because there's I have lots of interest. I like what it did, especially as opposed to what My Hero Academia did. They put it in a little OVA instead of being like, "Oh, you excited for the new season? The first episode, clip show." Damn it.
So let's talk about Mob Psycho 100.
Yeah.
So if you're not aware, Mob Psycho 100 is by the same guy that did One Punch Man, and I won't say it's exactly like One Punch Man, but it's very
similar.
Very similar. Only it's like inverted.
You can tell the guy has a theme, and the theme is, what if the strongest person?
Yes.
What if the strongest person?
So in One Punch Man, you had the guy who was able to defeat anybody in one punch and was very sad because of it.
Yeah.
He always wanted to fight someone stronger because maybe he'll take 2 punches.
Yeah.
Whereas in Mob Psycho, we have preteen boy in middle school who is clearly the strongest psychic in the world, as far as we know.
Yeah. Absolutely he is.
And he does not want to be that.
And he is also sad about it. He's like, please no.
I don't want any of this.
This is dangerous. Also, I just love the themes of it because he's just so... He recognizes that it doesn't make him special. And he's like, man, I just wish I could not rely on being just a weird psychic.
The strongest psychic. Because, I mean, what is he if he doesn't have that?
Exactly. And, like, that's interesting because it, like, asks this question and, like, the character actually has to wrestle with it instead of most shows where it's like, no, you just define yourself by being the strongest.
And we get the normal progression of he fights one guy, then he fights a stronger guy, then he fights a stronger guy, then he fights the evil organization.
I mean, it's your standard shonen progression, but again, one is just like very good at twisting that to make it interesting and new.
Make new points.
Because like My Hero Academia does the same thing, but you're just there for the fights. It's not saying anything.
No.
It's really not.
You're just there for the adventure.
Where at least all of one's stuff, like, makes you think about something. Because you have these melancholic characters that are the best. Because again, when I watch My Hero Academia, you know what? I know that pro tag's gonna beat up everybody.
Sure do.
You just do. You just do.
That's how it works.
But it makes you think that maybe he won't. Where it's like in one stuff, it's like, no, he absolutely will.
It's more interesting what the characters around the protagonist are going to do.
Yeah. And how the protagonist thinks about his powers.
Yeah. So at a high level, what would you rate this show?
Oh, man. I mean, it's got to be like at least a 9 out of 10, right?
I think I gave it an 8
if not
initially.
just oh, really?
I think so. Let me look. Because I didn't rate it this time because I'd seen it before.
If there's any downside to it, it's the weird art style. But the weird art style really makes it work.
I love the weird art style.
I know. It's like, I mean, that's both a positive and a negative, right?
Yeah, I gave it an 8 initially. And that's probably because it was clearly segueing into a second season that hadn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
And I typically reserve higher scores for things that are completed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see if you go off my weird scale, it'd totally be a 9.
I think it's a 9 out of 10. I think it's definitely a must watch.
It's a very strong show. Yeah. Pun intended.
Is there a pun there?
Well, because it's about a guy that's very strong. Or not strong.
Psychically strong. He's not strong at all. That's why he joins the Body Improvement Club. It's very important.
Indeed. So going into spoiler land, what did you think of all the art and animation? Because like you said, it's weird, but...
The art style is weird. So with One Punch Man, they took one's original style, and then they actually hired people who can art. And they worked together to make One Punch Man and the re-release of the One Punch Man manga. Mob Psycho is just like unfiltered one. And one unfiltered, he weird dude when it comes to his art.
He loves colored pencils, and you can tell.
He does love colored pencils.
Lots of colored pencils.
I love the sketchiness of the art, but I mean the character designs are just like
off the wall.
I can't say they're bad, but yeah, they're off the wall.
I think the best one is probably Teru.
Oh yeah. They remind me a lot of Gegege no Kitaro.
Yeah.
Or like or very old shows from like the 70s where it's like they're very cartoony and weird.
It helps that when you look at any particular character, you sort of know instinctively who that character is just by looking at him.
No, 100%.
Well, except for Teru. Well, at least reborn Teru with the hair.
With the hair, I still don't know how I feel about that hair, man. It's so dumb, but at the same time, it's like, though.
It's the best.
Yeah, no, you got me there. As far as the animation goes, like, I mean, it's like 10 out of 10 on an animation, right? Like, what's better animated than Mob Psycho?
One Punch Man. At least the fights in One Punch Man.
I don't know. Have you seen the fights in Mob Psycho? They're so good. Granted, a lot of the great animation in Mob Psycho has to do with like fire effects and like objects moving around the screen rather than characters in motion. Though there's some really great characters when Mob is getting beat up by that one adult psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is some squash stretch animation in that's just top notch. That whole fight is like ridiculously well animated.
I would actually say that while I enjoy the fight animations, it's more the reaction animations that aren't part of the fights that really, really work.
Any reaction Reigen has to anything?
Yes.
Where they're just like, here's charcoal. Here is oil pastel smeared on glass.
But his mouth moves when he does it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's so
And
good.
you're like, I did not expect that. And it's so funny.
Oh, yeah. It's really good. I mean, the ending animation for the show is phenomenal.
I agree. Absolutely. And you're right. I didn't think that they were doing that on glass, but yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah. I think they do oil pastel on glass. They did that same studio did it with one other thing, and it worked so well that they did it for that ending animation, and they do it a couple times in the show. But it's like oil pastel on glass.
What do you think of the op animation?
I love the opening. The opening to Mob Psycho is one of my favorite. It's better than One Punch Man's. One Punch Man's opening and endings aren't great, but Mob Psycho's are phenomenal.
I'd agree. I don't really like the song they used for
Mob
Psycho. It works. It absolutely works because I've never seen somebody make a song out of just counting to 99.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Hold on. 99 Love Balloons.
That's not a theme song.
Shut up. Hey, it's a lot better than the new season of My Hero Academia's theme. The season 3 theme for My Hero is not good.
Oh.
It's kind of bad.
I've not seen it. Yeah, the song's just kind of, I think it's because it's tonally dissonant on purpose. But
is it?
It's just,
it's not particularly tonally dissonant.
Well, especially at the end, like the last from 90 to 99.
Oh, as in okay.
Like actually tonally dissonant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I gotcha.
It rubs me the wrong way.
Okay. Musically. I see.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about
Oh, no.
with the show itself. It's like, no, it's
No,
not
it's spot on with the
this,
show
man.
itself.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the arcs. Which arc do you think was the strongest? Because I roughly sketched them out into 4. So we got the ghost arc where he just fights ghosts.
It's fair.
Then the smile cult arc. Then the arc with Teru. And then the arc with his brother and Claw.
Yeah. Though you could probably, like the clip show does, you could probably cut the Claw and his brother into those 2 specific halves.
Yeah, but they intertwine.
But those 2 interlock really well.
Yeah.
I really the Teru stuff is really good though. I can't say that's the strongest because Reigen lecturing everybody at Claw,
of course,
is so good. The last 2 episodes of this show are so, or is it just the last one?
That's just the last
2.
one.
Okay, the last episode of the show is amazing. Then
let's get to that in a bit.
But the Teru arc is really solid. I do like Ekubo as a character though. So
Ekubo is delightful. And he is the best mascot character.
He is one of the best mascots around, absolutely. As far as mascot characters go, Ekubo's pretty great.
We need more mascots like him.
We need more Slimers.
I think Claw, for me, is probably the best arc.
I mean, Claw is really, really good. What I like about the Teru arc is Mob better defines his own character in that. Like, you really see Mob's character, like, grow and develop in the Teru arc pretty well.
I can see that. But I think that the Claw arc is stronger only in that we get to see Mob's growth through his brother's perception of him.
Yep, no, that's true too.
And then Mob figuring out that perception and watching it change. I think it ends up being stronger. Plus, like you said, then you have Reigen at the end.
Oh, the last. Reigen is such an interesting character.
Yes.
Because he's just such a tool, but he's just a font of like actually good advice and sound thinking, but he's just such like just a flimflam man.
I
just
even wrote down in my notes rewatching it for the first episode. I said that I had forgotten that Reigen is probably the most brave person in the entire series, despite being an absolute coward.
He kind of is. He's so weird. He's such an interesting character.
Because of all the characters, he knows absolutely he's got Zippo power.
Yeah, he's got nothing going on.
And yet, at every turn, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to stride on in here.
It's hard to know. It's just hard to know if he honestly, like, I don't know.
Well, he definitely does.
It's so hard to read.
In the last arc, even though he knows Mob is inside, he doesn't know what's going on in there.
Oh, not at all.
And he just strides in. It's like, yeah, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
He's such a con artist. He's so great. And the fact that he gets it like the villains of the show are villainous because they refuse to grow up. And it's so good.
What'd you think about the ghost arc? Good, bad?
I like it because the Bakemono, no, just Bake. The Bake designs are just really good.
Well, we get our first taste of what the evil spirits are going to look like.
And they're very good.
But what's great is they're only on screen for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
There's a lot of build up of oh my goodness, what you just fought was just the mini boss. Here's the real boss. It's something. It's gone.
It's very one Punch Man there at the beginning, and you can really tell the first arc is very much One Punch Man.
Well, we have to set up that Mob actually is way stronger than anybody else, like right off the bat.
That, and it takes all of the Ghost arc and most of the Ekubo arc for him to actually build up to 100 to pop.
Yeah.
Right? Because the whole idea is like he's a super strong psychic, but he's actually the strongest when he uses his emotions. But he knows that murders people to death.
So he tries not to do that.
So he bundles his emotions up, but then they'll pop once he hits 100 and bad things happen. Or good things. It depends what emotion he's feeling at the time.
Bottling up emotions turns out not to be like the best idea.
Yeah, but for Mob, it might be the best way to handle things.
So let's see. And then we go into the Smile arc. So that's where Mob is sort of not inducted, but just sort of pushed into a cult. Really weird cult, too.
I love that cult. Well, it's also where he joins freaking Body Improvement Club with the best people in the world. They're such bros. They're great.
They are bros. The best part about that is after he's joined the Body Improvement Club and he's in there in the club room with all the other the lazy club members who just wanted to play games all day. He's in there and he's like, yeah, I can use psychic powers. and he's throwing all these weights around like they're nothing, and then he has one land in his arm, and he turns his powers off,
and he
straight to the ground.
Can't hold it. He can't hold it. It's really good. Well, I just love, like, I guess it goes into the Teru arc afterwards as well, right? Where like these guys are so devoted to like Mob as just a good guy that they go and like rescue him from thugs.
Well, he is a good guy. He's like the most dedicated body improvement
Mob's a good
member.
guy, and I just mean that like the typical jocks in the show are also good guys. They're just cool guys.
They just want to work out and do squats.
Yeah, they just want to do squats, man.
They love squats so much.
Squats are cool. Squats are good. Work those glutes and muscles.
Yeah, those
the nikus.
The bone muscles.
The nikus.
So one thing I noted that in this show is I'm intrigued by how often cults show up in anime, but they just seem to be like this routine occurrence in Japanese life.
Well, they kind of are.
It's just really weird because I never like hear about them normally, but they seem to just pop up in shows for no reason.
There's a lot of weird flash in the pan religions in Japan, man.
It's so weird.
They got a lot of weird cults in Japan.
Because there was one in Poon Poon, there was one in Bakemonogatari, there's one here, and it's like
got a weird thing, man.
The lady that pushes Mob into the cult even states that it came into existence only last month.
Yep.
And even the characters note, that was awful fast.
Yeah.
But it just seems like that's slightly quicker than normal.
Yeah.
Does this really happen? Do people
weren't the sarin gas attacks in Japan perpetrated by yet another cult?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
So,
cults are just kind of I don't know.
They're
smaller, but they're very numerous in Japan, it seems.
Yeah, when you think about them in American culture, it's like, oh, well, this thing's been around for like 20 years, and then they do something crazy.
Yeah.
I did want to point out that this is another thing going back to the art. There's a big wide shot of the crowd in the cult once they've all taken their masks off. And I just wanted to take a moment and mention that every single face in that crowd is different, even in the wide shots.
That seems about right for this show.
Like, I love that kind of detail.
Yeah.
Even though they're not drawn great, they're all different.
How good's the part in this arc where the only reason Mob stays to do the little laughing competition is because he likes drinking milk?
He loves milk.
He likes milk. He has such a bland personality.
He's so very honest about things. Like, well,
he's a very honest boy.
I could go home, but they just offered me free milk, so
I do like milk.
So we do get Mob's first explosion in this arc when he's fighting Ekubo. And I like the explanation for his explosion, that he's been denying his potential for so long and denying his powers for so long that eventually they just explode. It was explained that when you keep your potential down and you deny that part of yourself, it like kills off all your other emotions after a while.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of an astute observation. I wasn't expecting that in my shonen anime.
Well, that's because one's kind of a clever cookie.
Yeah, he is. I also really liked when Ekubo is finally defeated. It's not like a giant scream or anything. He's just like, oh, and explodes.
Yeah, there's a lot of the just anticlimactic piffs.
But I like that kind of anticlimactic thing because it's more realistic. It's like, oh, yeah, this is a bad time to be realizing that maybe I shouldn't have picked this fight.
No, you shouldn't have.
Teru arc, which you think is the best, and I would say it's the second best.
It's really good. I think there's lots of good stuff going on in it. Just his whole confrontation with Teru is like super solid.
Well, and we get the setup for that in the previous arc, where it ends with Mob being told by Reigen that he is the main protagonist in his own life, and he should get some confidence. But then the opening of the next episode, we basically have Teru, who has basically taken that same concept and turned it into his entire way of life.
Yeah, to the extreme.
He's like, I am the main character of the entire world, and I'm going to use my powers to do it. So there. He's also kind of a dope.
Yeah, but what I like about it is just like how well he contrasts with Mob, right? Like, one good way to define your protagonist is just have an antagonist that's like completely opposite. And that's what Teru is, right?
He is. And he also sets up the whole mentality of Claw to come later.
Yeah, exactly. Because they use the same mentality that Teru does. And that's one of the things that's really interesting about this arc is how much it sets up the characters, and like what's wrong with Claw is the same thing. What was wrong with Teru is that he has refused to grow up past this one talent that he has.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're the best in the world at thing blank. It's like, well, that's nice, but if you take that away, are you an actual well-rounded person?
Yeah, and Teru can even be excused for it a little bit because he's still in middle school.
Yeah, because he's a kid, but again, he gets it beaten out of him.
He gets it beaten out of him spectacularly.
He does. He done goofed.
Yeah, the monologue that we get for why Mob shouldn't be using his powers to hurt anybody or for his own benefit is a really good summary of why One is so good at writing. Because he doesn't create Gary stews at all.
Oh yeah, no.
They're good at this one thing, but that's it. And in One Punch Man, we see that, yeah, he's really good at punching people, but he's kind of worthless at everything else. And he doesn't care about that.
Oh yeah, no, he really doesn't.
But Mob, he's only good at one thing, and he does care about it, and it makes him sad.
Yeah, it gives him a big complex about things.
Yeah, and so he's like, I'm going to work out and get good at other stuff, and I envy my brother a whole lot because he can do all sorts of things.
Without relying on one little special gift.
Yeah, he's not the best in the world at any one of those things, but at least he's well-rounded.
It's like where I can't even run without actually dying.
Oh, I liked the flashback of after Teru exercises Ekubo, and we have this internal monologue of Mob seeing that and being like shocked, and we assume that it's gonna be, oh, you killed my friend, but we get all these flashbacks of Ekubo basically being a horrible jerk.
Yep, it's really great. And he's like, well, I guess he wasn't that that good of a person.
Yeah, and Teru's like, ha, now you're gonna let all your power out, right? You want your friend back. You're really mad about that, aren't you? He's like, nah, actually, I'm good.
No, he was kind of a dick. But then he thinks about it a little bit more. It's like, you know what? Compared to you, he may have been a really great guy.
Yeah, because Teru spends the next couple minutes basically saying, you will never amount to my level of power. You're always going to be second rate. You suck. I'm the best. But Ekubo, who kept wanting to use Mob for his own stuff, kept telling him, yeah, you're the best. You should be using your potential all the time. You should just own it. It's like, actually, maybe I got this backwards.
Maybe one of these people is a little more decent.
So then after the Teru arc, we get the whole brother/claw arc, which I think is fantastic.
I mean, it is really, really good. The brother part is super solid. Super good.
Really well done. Although I don't think I can relate to it at all.
Yeah.
Unless I am envious that you're the best at magic.
I'm pretty okay.
Or magic.
Moira.
You're better at Moira than me.
I'm good at bouncing those balls around, man.
Yes, you are.
Them balls. Gotta love them balls. Them yellow balls, them black balls. Just balls. Love balls.
One thing I wanted to point out at the beginning of this whole arc, when all the other delinquents from all the other schools are coming to find White Tea, the Shadow White Tea.
Shiro Tea Poison.
Yeah, that guy.
I love that name. That's such a great, like, shadow leader name.
Yeah, I wanted to point out some of the world building that has been done in this series. Do you remember the name of the city they're living in?
So I love how One does dumb stuff for his world building. Like in One Punch Man, it's just very
A city and C city.
A, B, C.
Yeah.
Just really dumb. And in this one, it's Seasoning City, and then all the different schools are like Mayo High School and Salt High School and Black Vinegar High School.
And soy sauce and bean
They're
paste.
just all sauces.
Yeah.
What's weird about Mob Psycho is, like, One Punch Man definitely takes place in, like, just a different world altogether. Like, it's very upfront about this. Where Mob is, like, in a world very similar to ours, but just off by a smooch.
Yeah. It's like, people are too accepting of the fact that Mob has Esper powers.
Especially his parents.
Please
Please get over your habit of bending spoons.
And at the end, when Ritsu finally has powers and his mom's like, really? Now there's another one? What happened with these kids? Yeah, one of the other things that we got at the beginning of this arc too is we get a little bit more explanation about Mob just sort of going crazy. Because we get some explanation of how to awaken other people's Esper powers. It's through some sort of extreme emotional distress, whether that's pain or
100%.
Something else. And we've already been told that's when Mob explodes, but he also has his latent abilities.
Absolutely, he does.
It made me wonder, like, what made him awaken? Because we do have that one flashback of the high schoolers beating up him and his brother.
Well, I think unlike a lot of other people, he's more like Teru, right? Where it's like they're very naturally psychic. So, like, I think they were born and, like, by the time they had learned to walk, they had learned how to use their psychic powers. I think that's just a thing. They didn't have to awaken into them.
Well, it also wasn't explained, so maybe there's room in season 2 for them to explore a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Where I think most typical people, most naturals are either like the kids at the little thing that can barely do anything, or they awaken stronger through emotional trauma. Where Mob has like the worst of both worlds in some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I like that Mob, when he explodes, like the first time, we sort of get this expectation that every time he explodes, it's going to be through like sheer anger.
Yeah.
But then the second time it reaches 100, he just starts crying.
Yeah, which is very interesting because it's like how his powers manifest really depend on what emotion triggered it. So in the second time, it's like sadness and regret. So his psychic powers go crazy and rebuild the school that his fight with Teru just demolished.
Yeah. Yeah, his powers are really, really interesting. One gave himself a lot of leverage of how to manifest those in the show.
Or like in the Claw arc where he pops through like denying something through just denial of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it just reverses the situation about those around him.
Like literally, I'm running away and letting you handle this.
Oh, well, I didn't mean that part. That one's really good because that's gratitude. But I mean the one where he pops against the guy with the chin.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Where he's being showed
all the terrible things.
Having killed it. Yeah, where he's being shown him having killed his brother. And he's like, well, no, that, please, not.
Please take this back.
So he just, so it pops it back because he's completely rejecting the idea.
Well, one of the other good things about this arc is that the whole build-up and the whole plot progression is all through misunderstandings, but they're misunderstandings that are really believable. It's not like all these contrived, this guy didn't tell me a thing, so now we're going to have this big, long plot
the Claw arc stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is that, unlike most miscommunication plots, it would not actually be easily solved if they were to just come clean, because they're not even quite sure what the misunderstanding has been.
Yeah. So it all starts when this one Esper organization that isn't Claw is just looking for this powerful Esper named Kageyama. And they happen to see this guy walking along. They're like, "Are you Kageyama?" He's like, "Yes." It's like, "Would you like to come and learn more about Esper powers?" He's like, "Okay." But inwardly, he's thinking, "I think they want my brother." He's like, "Whatever, I'll roll with it. Maybe I can become like him." And it just builds off that.
Yeah.
So instead of just, if I call somebody on my cell phone, this will all get cleared up. No, this is all built out of deep-seated reasonings that the characters aren't themselves aware of, like you said.
Yeah, and the other half of the way the arc progresses, right, is people misunderstanding like Shiro T poison.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, there's this guy who beat up like the strongest person at Black Vinegar High School, Teru, but they don't know who he is, so they just have this like weird nickname for him.
And they just start assuming who that might be.
Yeah, they just start assuming that it's either the student council members at Salt Middle School where Mob goes, or that it's Mob's younger brother, because he starts manifesting his psychic powers and he's a real dick with them.
So yeah, I mean, it's all really believable how it all progresses from there until we get to the whole actual Claw ultimate fight. Yeah, especially in this arc, we get a lot of the bosses getting defeated within a second. That joke never gets old, and I love it.
It really doesn't, especially the guy whose like whole face changed and everything. It's just like, look, I'm sorry, I just don't have the time. Especially when he even says it's like, I'm sure you have some gimmick, but look, I just don't. I'm sure you're very strong and you've got some very clever attacker gimmick that you do, but not right now, please.
What was great about that guy was normally in One Punch Man and a lot in Mob Psycho, the villain shows up. He gives a big monologue, and then he's defeated in 1 second. But with that particular guy...
No, he doesn't even get a monologue.
It was in a separate screen. It was all the division leader, building this guy up like, well, if everybody else fails, I guess it'll just be you.
We'll have to rely on you because of how strong you are.
Yep, and then he goes out there, and we don't even get to see him be defeated.
No, we don't even know what his gimmick is. He just gets beat up.
He's just smashed to a wall.
Slammed into a wall. Or even when he has to fight, what's his name? The guy who sort of defeated him in the alley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's just like, look, we could really like fight for real again, but again,
I'm on a schedule.
I got things to do.
So I'm just gonna stick you in a ceiling.
Beats the crap out of him. Especially how his friends are like, man, you can have all the skill in the world, but you can't overcome just the raw power that is Mob.
Let's talk about the last 2 episodes, because I think obviously they're the best 2 episodes of the show. Episode 11, when Reigen shows up to the
it's so good
building. His charisma is just off the charts.
He just rolls nat 20s on those bluff checks all day, every day. He's so good.
So I have to tell you 2 notes that I've written down, one after the other. The first one was, man, Reigen's Esper dropkick has got to be one of his best special moves, if not the best special move.
I don't know, Hypnosis Punch is very good.
And then right after that, I said, okay, I take that back. Hypnosis Punch is the best one.
Yeah, okay. It's like, I don't know. Hypnosis Punch gives it a pretty good run for its money. It's like, now keep your eye on this 5 yen coin. And all the psychics are like,
okay, what's he
is
gonna
there really
do?
something to this guy? Does he really have psychic powers that we can't detect?
Hypnosis Punch.
Punches him when they're distracted.
And the best part about
I love
all
the
of
narrator.
those is the narrator.
The narrator who explains how it works. It's like, when they're distracted by the coin, he just punches them. Yeah, I mean, that would work.
All of his special moves are amazing, but that one is just like
Very
the culmination. You know that all those were building up to those 2 right there in succession.
Absolutely.
Reigen, you're such a badass.
Esper dropkick. This is where he just dropkicks an Esper.
If there's an Esper and he
okay.
dropkicks it, this is his special move.
His special move. I mean, you're not wrong. That would do it.
And then at the end of the episode, we get that
just where he just lectures everyone.
everybody else has been defeated. It's up to Mob. Reigen and him are like the only 2 left standing. And Mob's like, well, everybody else is defeated. I guess I have to take them on. I have to
Unleash
defeat
hell.
them. Let's go. And Reigen's like, no, that's not how we do things. We don't use our powers for that. And plus, you're a kid, and these are adults just acting like kids. So don't do it.
Well,
man.
I also like the wisdom of him, where it's like, you will feel worse about this,
And he would.
so don't do it. Because he would have murdered those men.
Absolutely. And that's a thing that sticks with you as a kid, turns out. He even said that because he's like, I have to defeat them. Like,
Yeah. And the emotion that's
absolutely
about-
defeat them. Murderous intent.
And the emotion that's about to pop is murderous intent.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he is. No one's going to leave this room alive.
It's like, he will mess everyone up.
But then in episode 12, we get the culmination of that when Reigen's like, no, dude, it's okay to run away from things, especially things like this, because these guys are out to actually kill you, and that's stupid.
Yeah, and they're adults wanting to kill a child for little to no reason.
Yeah.
Because they're like men children.
So what does Mob do? Gives Reigen all his powers.
Yeah.
Here.
The question is does he do it on purpose or not? I lean towards no.
I don't
It's just
think
how
so.
It's just how his pop manifests that time.
But I think that Mob knows what has happened after it's occurred, but Reigen
Yes, I
doesn't know
agree
what's
with that.
happened for
Not
a while.
Well, barely. Yeah. He does at the end. He's like, oh, that's how I can do all this.
That makes more sense.
Well, the first, he's very much like, oh, so you guys are just flim-flam men too. How are you doing all of this?
Because when that guy hits him with his sword, because he mentions that his sword is actually plastic, but over years of him using his powers on it,
Curses.
it's
Yeah.
become super sharp. When he hits Reigen with it and it doesn't do anything, I, as a watcher, was like, oh, maybe it actually was plastic, and everybody just believed, if they believed that it was an actual katana, then they got sliced with it. But since Reigen's a con man, and he's like, I just see through it, it doesn't hurt him.
Yeah.
Which would have made sense too. But
Oh, yeah.
it's like, oh, he's also a demigod right now, so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helps.
It does.
That whole fight getting subverted by Reigen was pretty amazing.
So good. And just how he just lectures all of these people.
Could you all just not behave like children for a bit?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, life sucks. Deal with it. You could just grow up and not rely on your stupid powers or
Well,
use your
especially
powers
when
for
like
something else.
the division leader is like crying about things, and like the animation itself makes him look more and more like a baby throwing a tantrum.
Well, yeah, because that's literally what it is. Even though
Yeah,
he's like
exactly.
this old man. Yeah, it's really well done. I love that. I also thought it was interesting that they ended the whole series with this sort of omake scene where they go out to search for this little snake thing.
I love the little snake thing.
The question is, were they really going out there for the snake thing, or was Reigen just hunting for mushrooms?
Reigen just wanted mushrooms,
Clearly.
100%.
Yeah. So I guess we need to talk about the OVA a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty okay. The fact that it came out like a year after it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is just a clip show, but the way it frames the clip show is like really solid, and it does lots of fun goofs with it.
I love the twist of, yeah, it's a clip show, but we've redone it as Reigen writing a biography of sorts of all the events after seeing some other psychic get rich off of books.
So they are very skewed. There is original animation in it, and like again, unlike the My Hero Academia clip show, it is a special where it's like, watch this if you need to catch up. It's not, here's the first episode of the brand new season, aren't you excited? Clip show.
Yeah.
This is a separate little thing. And also, like, My Hero Academia was off the air for like 6 months or something.
You're not going to forget too much.
No, but Mob came out, what, a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So it's acceptable to do a recap clip show, especially since, again, all it did was snatch a whole bunch of the best animated parts of the show. And we're like, do you want to see that great animation again? Yeah, you do.
You want to see it with Reigen doing it instead of Mob? Yes, you do.
And especially at the end where the entire Claw arc, they just superimpose Reigen and Reigen's head on stuff.
On everything.
Choice. So good. A+ move.
I also like at the end where they've revised everything after realizing, yeah, we're all into this together. All of my friends are going to come help me edit this. And someone points out, if it's a nonfiction book, we need to fact check it.
Yeah.
And then Reigen gets a copy of it. Apparently he doesn't read the draft. And so he just reads this printed copy, and it's what literally happened.
Yeah.
Soul crushing.
And I just love how the show itself points out, it's like Reigen wasn't here, there, or here, or here, or here. He wasn't in the background of this scene.
Nope.
And this is his head on this character. It's very good. It's a very good goof.
And it makes sense within the show, too.
Yeah.
Which makes it really nice.
It's an hour-long clip show, but they did a good job of integrating it. And again, since it's an OVA and not an actual episode of the show, it's completely skippable. Stupid My Hero Academia. What a lame thing to do. Come on.
I'm sorry.
First episode of the new season's a clip show. Though there is a pretty good goof in it, because there's 2 hero classes in the show. There's Class A and Class B. Mm-hmm. So they spend like a good chunk of like one of the teachers telling you all about all the different superpowers of everybody in Group A. And then it gets to Group B, and he's about to explain it, and somebody's like, oh, before you do that, we need you over here. So they still don't, because there's a running gag throughout the show that no one cares about Group B.
Oh,
so they almost get to explain all the different superpowers of Class B, and they're like, and these guys, oh, no, don't have time to explain that right now, sorry.
I do love a good running gag. So, of the 2 shows, One Punch Man or Mob Psycho, I'm not going to ask you which one's better, but which one do you think handles its material the best?
Define handles its material.
Which one delivers whatever message it may have better?
I think Mob Psycho, hands down.
Do you?
Yeah. One Punch Man's very good, but it's a far more humorous show. Mob's funny, but you can definitely tell that it has a definite idea and theme that it's trying to get across, and it's doing it. Where One Punch Man is a little more humorous. Though I hear that like nearer the like middle end of the manga, it gets a little, not necessarily darker, but a little more serious in the way it's playing with its theme.
Well, and One Punch Man is admittedly a parody of superheroes.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's sort of poking fun and pointing out issues with superhero manga and anime. Whereas Mob Psycho is more on the side of, let's actually explore the mentality of somebody who may actually have these powers.
Yeah.
Like a real guy with these powers.
Yeah, it's the same sort of idea, right? Where it really is, what if I did One Punch Man again, but made it serious instead of just a parody?
Yeah. But still funny as hell.
Oh, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Funny show.
But not a parody.
Everything about Reigen is gold.
Man, that guy. He is the master.
So good. He's so good. What a great character.
I don't know when the second season's supposed to come out. Do you know?
I don't know. They just said second season.
Greenlit for production.
Yeah.
But didn't say.
I'm sure it'll be next season or the season after.
So, what are we going to watch next week? Or next time?
That's an excellent question.
I still think you need to watch No Game, No Life.
Yeah, I don't really want to.
Boo.
I think we should watch Boruto.
Vetoed. 100%.
Is Library Wars on Crunchyroll? And if so, how long is it? Have you ever seen Library Wars?
I've heard of it.
It's way better than it should be.
Is it like Read or Die? Because I love Read or Die.
No.
No. Okay.
It's a really weird premise, but it's a really good show. So the concept of the show is that censorship is legal,
Okay.
but for the government, in order to censor anything, the way that they counteract the censorship is by allowing libraries to arm themselves. So every library has their own militia.
Okay.
So the government can come in and censor and take books, but they have to go through each library's individual militia in order to do so.
Hmm.
It's a really odd setup, but it's actually pretty good show.
Huh.
Yeah, I know, right?
Huh. That is interesting. Yeah, we can watch Library Wars. Let's do that.
So it's not super popular on Crunchyroll. It only has like 12 reviews, which is a shame. We watched it in Anime Club a while back, and it's, well, a while back, obviously, like a billion years ago.
Well, now
But
we'll review
it's
it.
good.
And we are the defining word, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good show.
There are dozens of listeners.
Yeah. One listener for each person who reviewed the show. We can double the reviews of this show on
There you go.
Crunchyroll.
So we'll do that, and we'll see you next time on Aniki.